talking about a quarterback who's been around for a while in Mark Gronowski, and switching gears here to someone for the future, and that is the top recruit at the quarterback position for the next recruiting class here, 2026, Jared Curtis. As he was a former Georgia commit, but his recruitment is starting to heat up here a bit. And a lot of times with these high-profile quarterbacks, they tend to get their decisions out of the way earlier rather than later. The class gets built around them. They try to recruit other guys to come with them. So I think coaches are sensing that, and it's a who's who in terms of who's involved with this recruitment here as I pull up this graphic. And this report that we're referencing here is from Steve Wiltfong at On3, and you see it here in the graphic. Some of the programs that are involved here, basically a lot of the big boys. And I'm going to pull up his huddle here. You can see why that's the case. Big guy and doing a lot of things that we look for in the modern quarterback, being able to play, off balance and outside of the pocket, making throws that aren't necessarily with everything perfect in front of him. So this guy is a really special one.
Yeah, before we get into the players, just on the recruiting side. So Mike Shula, the new offensive coordinator at South Carolina, he visited with the family and Curtis on Tuesday. This is Wednesday today. Hugh Freeze from Auburn is going in home. Mike Bobo from Georgia, where Curtis was previously committed and is still interested in. They're coming to see him on Thursday. You got Alabama and Oregon next week. Ohio State and Ole Miss are also involved. He plans to visit all of these schools on campus during the spring and summer period before he makes a decision before his senior year. He'll be back in Georgia. Even though he decommitted from Georgia, he's going to visit Alabama for Junior Day the weekend of February 1st. Georgia, January 18th, he's scheduled to be there. And if listen to On3 and some of the people around the recruiting industry, Oregon's a team with a lot of juice, right? They just lost one of their two big-time recruits that was a quarterback commit in this previous class to Cal, ended up transferring Sagapolatelli. You still have Achilles Smith Jr. there, Dante Moore, projected starter going forward, but you have one less guy in the room. Of course, you're Curtis. You're not really worried too much about competition because you got a lot of faith in your ability. But, man, the player now, as you see this huddle, he really reminds me. You see how he palms the ball. He's just
Josh Allen.
100% Josh Allen. The physicality, the casualness, but the ability to make plays. He can just kind of wait because he knows he has the arm strength.
See that no look? Look at this. I mean, he's sick.
And look,
it's the next play here.
Yeah, it's casual, and I always say casual in a negative way. Cam Ward was the best quarterback in college football this year, being very casual. There he is. It's just he knows that because of his size and athleticism, he could just kind of palm the ball and hang out, break a tackle like he does there, and make a play. Look at it, and he's got the arm angles. I mean, very athletic. He was actually a running back earlier in his high school career, so you can see some of that athleticism. Look at his stats this year: 2024 Gatorade Player of the Year in Tennessee. Led the Eagles to a 13-1 record and a state title. He had 2,672 yards and 38 touchdowns, ran for 577 yards and an additional 14 scores. At times, he's had trouble just kind of from a completion percentage standpoint, accuracy standpoint. Again, reminds you of Josh Allen in that regard. But the natural throwing talent is obvious. And I think, this quarterback class, as you dig into it, I don't know if on paper it's as talented as what you had the year before, the class that just signed, which in my opinion, I'll probably do a video on this soon, that 2025 quarterback class, I think is probably the best I've seen coming out of high school. And I've been following recruiting for 20 years. This next class, 26, not as deep, but a guy like Curtis, he's a 5-star to me in any class just because of what you're seeing right there, the physical ability.
Yeah, and this tweet that I'm showing here was a video that was tweeted out, and then Roddy Nabulsi, who's a Georgia reporter, has been around for a while, said, I drove 7 hours this spring to watch Georgia commit Jared Curtis work out at a camp. Best QB that I have seen in years at his age, and Roddy's been around for a while.
Yeah, appreciate you, Michael. Thanks for the kind words. Yeah, this guy is, I'm a big believer in that, and this is where I maybe differ from others. I don't like taking high school kids that are high floor, right? Because you can get the floor in the portal. You can get the floor like a good, solid quarterback game manager in the portal. And those guys have experience, which is what you really want. to me, in high school, if you're getting high school recruiting and you're fighting with a guy like Curtis, he's going to command major, major money. You're not going to get a player like this on the cheap. You got to devote a lot of resources to a player like this. So if I'm devoting a lot of resources to a high school quarterback, I want to get a guy that, if you look at the tool set, you say, man, if this comes together, he's the first pick of the draft. He's a top 10 pick. And I think Curtis, physically, when you watch this guy, if it comes together for him, compared to like a guy like Julian Sain. Julian Sain was a 5-star a couple years ago for Ohio State, and he projects as just a really good college quarterback. Maybe he develops into a pro, but he's, smart, accurate, sees the field really well. But he's not physically spectacular. This dude right here, to me, is what a 5-star quarterback should look like because of the physical tools. Again, just going through some of the colleges, and we talked about the fit. South Carolina with Lenore Sellers. He fits the mold. Former running back, like we said, big, athletic. You can see how that's a developmental fit for him. Obviously, Georgia, he already committed there. They need a big-time quarterback. They're lacking that. Gunnar Stockton maybe is their quarterback of the future, but you don't see huge physical projection on him. Auburn, I don't know about that fit with Deuce Knight. You got him already there, although, of course, you're going to recruit a top quarterback every year. Ohio State can use a young quarterback. They did sign Tavian St. Clair last year, who's another physically talented guy, number 2 in the country. Ole Miss, they're going to move forward with Austin Simmons. But, all these teams could use a player like this, but a lot of them have young quarterbacks that can go.
You mentioned South Carolina with Lenore Sellers. Don't forget Aaron Olin in that room, too.
100%. And I think this guy, to me, physically, different planet. But again, Oregon has a lot of juice right now in recruiting in general, and with Curtis, I can see the fit. They got a lot of guys in the room with talent now. Dante Moore, Akili Smith, both big, physical, talented guys like him. But he's probably not worried about competition. If you're landing, you're going full bore to get this guy because you don't know who your future is. You think it's Dante Moore, but you don't really know.
Canes Cats Heat 305 says he told Josh Newberg last month that he wanted to visit Miami since Cam Ward is his favorite player. So I don't know, maybe Miami gets in the mix there.
Yeah, you better talk to this guy because this guy is elite. If you're a school on his list, you're feeling pretty good because he is that guy. I've watched most of the quarterbacks that are blue chippers in 26, seen games on some of them, not all of them. This guy in me is head and shoulders above from what I've seen from an upside perspective.